I'm Lacey B. Mills, artist and educator in San Antonio, Texas. Welcome to Saturday Morning Discovery. For today's project, we will be creating nichos. Nichos are small altars or shrines that pay tribute or homage to someone or something you care about. For example, it could be a pet, it could be your favorite movie or a favorite character, and basically be anything you want. These can be standalone shrines or altars, or they can become part of a larger altar like the ones you see during Dia de los Muertos. So for materials, let's have a look at the basic materials that you will definitely need. You will need a box of some kind. I have a cigar box right here. Or you can go to your local hobby store and you can purchase little wooden boxes. They also have these little paper mache boxes that come in packs. Or you can take the lid of a shoebox, or you can use a shoebox itself. And if you don't have a spare shoebox around, if you have some old Amazon cardboard lying around, you can use that as well. You can piece it together or use the box itself. Then you'll also need some glue. It can be Elmer's glue, and then you'll need glue sticks because you will be needing to collage images. You'll also need collage materials. For instance, I'll be doing a nicho on Frida Kahlo. So you might have scraps. I have old scraps from prints. I have some colored cardstock. I have some scrapbooking paper. Even these nice little glitter paper look really good with nichos. You'll also need embellishments such as jewels or sequins or glitter, which is what I have right here. These are really nice fabric flowers. And then these are tiny little ceramic offerings, or these are things that you might want to give to the person that your nicho is about. So for instance, conchas, if somebody like Esme likes conchas, so I put little conchas in it. Or, you know, if somebody liked a little soda, you could draw a little picture of a soda bottle and you can put that in there. Anything that'll embellish the nicho itself, like mine right here. Then you'll also definitely need some paintbrushes, because you'll be painting the box. You'll also need some paint, any kind of acrylic paint that you have, and markers or any drawing utensils if you are going to be creating other elements to collage inside your box. And again, back to the glue, you can use any kind of glue. You can even use hot glue as long as you have some supervision. And if you want to get into intricate details in your collage elements, you can opt for using an X-Acto knife instead of scissors. But again, make sure you have somebody to help you out with that. We don't want you getting hurt. So I think that's about it as far as materials. This is a pretty open project, and you can make it as detailed as you want, or you can make it as simple as you want. So let's get into that. Okay, so now that I know what I want to make my nicho about, what I want the center figure or person to be, I chose Frida Kahlo for one, and then I'm gonna make a little one with Santa's Little Helper from The Simpsons. Now, the first thing that you're gonna do is whatever box you chose to use, whether it's a wooden box from your local hobby store, or if it's your shoebox lid or the shoebox itself, you're gonna wanna paint it. If you got something like a cigar box, these have really nice patterns or designs or colors. If we look at the one I made for my friend, I really like the tape along the side, so I didn't end up painting this, but I did add some extra elements to the top. You can do that to any of these. So I'm gonna use this cigar box, but I'm gonna remove the lid. So using an X-Acto knife or scissors, I'm just gonna cut along its spine or its fold right here, just so I can remove it. Then what I'm gonna do is you wanna think about the background of your box. You can paint it or you can use some decorative paper. For instance, for the Santa's Little Helper, I printed out the Simpsons clouds, which I'll go ahead and glue in the background. But first I'm gonna do this one, because it's a little bit larger. And I have this really nice image, and I'll trace out the background. In fact, I can do it on this side, it'll be easier, so I can see my lines. So if you have decorative paper, you could do the same thing. And then once that's done, you just cut it out. And then once this is cut out, I'll go ahead and glue it to the background of my cigar box. Okay. Whatever glue you chose to use, get that out. I am going to use a little dependable glue, this Gorilla Glue. And hopefully, actually I think I might have to trim this just a little, which is no big deal. Then once you glue this inside, you're gonna start thinking about the elements or embellishments that you wanna add that surround your central image or drawing or photograph, whatever it is you decided to put in the center of your nicho. There we go. So there's the background. And I went ahead and I cut out a picture of Frida Kahlo. And I'm gonna glue it, since it's on a flimsy copy paper, I'm gonna glue it to this little cardboard. Now you wanna think about how you wanna center it. For the one I did with my friend, I put her more towards the middle and I let it tilt backwards. You can do however you like. So for this one, I'm gonna use my glue stick. And depending on what I might put in the background, I definitely want to put flowers. So I might do the same. I might just lean her a little forward. So I'm going to look at the rest of the scraps and other papers that I have and see what's going to look good in the background. So I think I'm going to cut out some of these flowers and also use some of the paper or craft flowers that I got from the hobby store. I might use a hot glue gun to hold her a little more sturdy towards the front, and it'll dry a bit faster. So before I do that, I still want to work on the background. So and like I said, I want to use flowers just in the corner. So I think I'm going to cut out some of this, like this flower right here, to glue down to the bottom. Now that I've cut these flowers, I want to kind of play with my composition. So this is building up your foreground, midground, and background. And I'm playing around before I put any glue down. I want to move it around to see where it might look good. And I think I tried it down here, and I don't think I like how that looked. So once I put it up here, I think this is a little more appealing. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And I think I'm gonna add some other elements to it as well. Got these little flowers. So let me glue this down first, and then we'll go from there. Now I want to think about the other little embellishments that I want to add to it. So just like in my other one where I have the small little ceramic plate of conchas and a cupcake, I have another little plate with, I think they're enchiladas. So I'm going to put that down here around, let's see, I think I'll fit it here, and hopefully I can fit Frida to the left of it. Yeah, that looks like it'll work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And for heavier or more, heavier pieces like this, or if you have a little monito or a little doll that you wanna put inside, I would suggest using a hot glue gun. That'll solidify it being in the box. It'll make it a little more stable. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my hot glue gun that I already have going, and I will glue down the little plate. And if you don't have anything like these, you can always draw some. You can draw little conchas or cupcakes or whatever it is that you like, and you can put them there instead of actually having ceramic pieces. Now I'm gonna put Frida over here, like so. And then I'm gonna add some more flowers and stuff around that edge. All right, now that I have the main image and a nice embellishment to the right of it, now I can add other stuff to it. I can look at other things that I have, other drawings or prints, or scrapbook paper, or decorative paper that I can put along the side. I can even put stuff on the back if I wanted to. So while I let that cool for a second, I'm gonna go ahead and paint this little box. And I'm going to just paint the outside with a blue. If I can find it, there we go. So depending on what box you have, you're gonna paint the outside if you choose to do so, or you can collage pictures to it, or drawings, anything you like. So Nichos come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. You can add a whole bunch of different elements to it. You can even find some of your old Legos and you can put some in there, or old toys, whatever you want. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry off to the side. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm gonna have a look at this again and see what I wanna put and where I wanna put it. Again, I wanted those flowers. Let's do the sunflowers. Let's just dump all this out, why not? I'm gonna do the sunflower first. And again, these flowers were pre-made, but you can make them, hand make them yourself too with just paper or fabric. You can paint them with watercolor and put them, let's see if I can do this. There we go. I'm gonna start putting more stuff all around. Maybe some jewels. Now if you wanna add the outer part, like I did to Esmeralda's, these pieces here, I just created a shape and you cut them out of cardboard or a more sturdy Bristol paper or cardstock. And once you trace one side, you can trace the second, cut it out, and then you just glue it along the edge with hot glue or Gorilla Glue, whatever's pretty sturdy because it won't fall apart. So it won't fall apart. So I'm gonna keep adding a couple more flowers. So really everything that you put inside of your box is really up to you, and it all depends on what your theme is, as far as the colors and the little dolls or little monitos that you put inside. Whatever it is that you put, it all depends on what your theme is. And so while this dries, I'm gonna also show you this. Remember those little paper mache boxes I had shown you before? These are great too. And just like the shoebox lid, it's just a little bit smaller and the lid is more shallow, so you don't have to try and fill it with more stuff. The deeper the box is, the more stuff you can put inside. So it really is a personal preference. So I already had these two done and painted, so I just wanted to show you what I would do for a very simple, quick one. If it's not for a family member or a pet or what have you, you can easily do just some little Day of the Dead skulls. And this is just one I found off the internet. I printed it out. You can hand color it, which is what I'll do right now. And then I'm just gonna glue it right inside. So you can make these as intricate and personal as you want, or they can just be simply Dia de los Muertos themed, or something silly. It doesn't really matter, as long as you're being creative. So now I have my little skull inside the lid of my paper mache box. And remember, I painted it. And don't worry if I got other paint on the back, that's okay. We can touch that up. Now, this project really makes you think about all of the elements of design: composition, color, balance, symmetry. You think about a lot of things. Just like with this Frida Kahlo one, she's off center. So she's not in the very center of the box, and I put stuff around it. I thought about the colors. I try to keep them all thematically the same. Same thing with this little guy. But for some reason I feel like he's getting a little lost, so I feel it's his eyes. So I think I'm gonna color him in yellow so he can pop out a little more. So remember, you can always add, you can keep adding and adding and adding. It's really up to you. There you go. Now the skull seems to be popping forward a little more. Now I can put jewels along this side. I got glitter. I can go wild with this if I wanted to, but I'm gonna jump back to my Simpsons one really quick. And even though I don't want to put another, I know it needs another coat of paint, but I'm not going to put it on just yet. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the background first. So I got the Simpsons cloud, so I'm going to trace that. And remember, like the first one with Frida, I might want to trim it in just a little so it'll fit inside the box. So I just added these little embellishments. I went ahead and drew a painting palette and some brushes, and I cut them out and I glued them. As well as for the Santa's little helper, I made a little dog bone and a dog bowl. So I'll glue those in. But first, before we get to that, I'm going to show you how to create these little ornate patterns. So what you're going to do, whatever box you're using, shoe box, hobby box, wooden box, whatever, you're going to take your box and find a piece of cardboard or the back of a sketch pad, whatever has some good thickness to it. And then you just trace your box. And then once you do that, you'll divide it up into sections, as I did this one, like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this side first and then flip it over, so that way they'll be equally the same. So I'm going to do that now. Now that these two pieces are done, each of them look similar because they're just mirrored of each other. We're going to play around and see where we want them to be placed on the outside of our box. Back to my friend Esme's, I moved hers more towards the front, so it's up to you if you want them in the middle or all the way back. I think I'm going to move it right towards the middle up here so it's a little closer. But before I adhere these pieces to the box itself, I'm going to paint them. And I believe to keep the color scheme the same, I'm going to go ahead and paint them an orangish red color. And then once those pieces dry, I can go ahead and embellish them with gems, or in this case, I'm going to use glitter. And once that's completed, your piece will be done. So now here's the piece with the added ornate patterns that I glued to the side. I started to add some gems to it. And there is something I wanted to let you all know. Just because you've added your sculptural pieces or your flowers or whatever it is that you filled your box with, doesn't mean you can go back in and touch it up. For instance, Santa's little helper, if I turn it around, I know there's some areas that I want to put more paint, maybe touch up, there's some green or blue in there that I want to cover with some yellow. You can always go in and fix it up. And I definitely want to add something in here to resolve that negative space. So it doesn't matter what box you're using, whether it's a craft box that's wooden or these pre-made paper mache boxes, a shoe box, cigar box, whatever it is you find, you can add anything you want to it, glitter, jewels, drawings, pre-made flowers. Remember, you're focusing on one element of your box and you're embellishing it with similar items or drawings or whatever it is you like to really showcase whoever is in your box. I hope you enjoyed learning about nichos and even learning how to create your own. Until next time, take care, y'all. Bye.